Welcome to PlacidWay Pulse, your guide to exploring trusted healthcare and wellness options around the world. Today we're talking about something deeply personal for many individuals and families: rehabilitation and recovery in Spain. For people struggling with addiction, burnout, stress, trauma, or mental health challenges, finding the right recovery environment can feel overwhelming. Many patients are now exploring rehab programs abroad, not only for privacy and affordability, but also for a change of environment that supports healing and personal transformation. Spain has become one of the destinations attracting international patients looking for wellness-focused rehabilitation programs, comfortable recovery settings, and personalized care away from the pressures of everyday life.
Yeah, and to really understand the mission of this deep dive today, we have to unpack exactly why leaving home might actually be the very first step to coming back whole.
Okay, let's unpack this,
Yeah,
because the roadblocks people are facing right now in their home countries, they are immense.
right. They really are.
We are talking about severe burnout. People are just emotionally exhausted. Their nervous systems are completely fried from, nonstop work pressure, and they're just surrounded by their everyday triggers.
Yeah, those alarm bells are ringing 24/7.
Exactly. But when they finally reach the point where they are ready to accept support, the options they find locally are often incredibly discouraging.
Oh, it's a profoundly vulnerable position to be in. When someone is finally admitting they need help, whether that's for alcohol dependency or a substance issue or just severe mental exhaustion, they're often met with a healthcare system that treats them like a collection of symptoms.
Right, rather than a whole human being.
Exactly. The treatment models in places like the US or the UK, they can be highly institutionalized. You are often placed in this fluorescent lit environment that focuses almost entirely on the physical withdrawal.
Which completely misses the root cause of the pain that led you there in the first place.
100%. It misses the mark entirely.
And that institutionalized approach is exactly what scares people away. It almost feels punitive, like you're checking into a sterile detention center just because you asked for help.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
You're stripped of your comfort and your humanity at the exact moment you need the most. And I feel like that just reinforces shame instead of, hope. And going abroad shifts that mindset to a proactive, empowering, healing retreat.
Which is so critical because addiction rarely exists in a vacuum. The sources we're looking at repeatedly emphasize this concept of dual diagnosis.
Wait, can you explain what that means for people who might not know?
Yeah, so it means the dependency is almost always paired with a co-occurring mental health condition.
Oh, wow. All
Right, so we are talking about chronic anxiety, deep depression, or even unresolved PTSD. People are self-medicating just to survive their burnout or their trauma.
So they don't just need a physical detox.
Exactly. They need comprehensive, highly personalized psychological care that addresses both the coping mechanism and that underlying wound simultaneously.
Well, if local care is so expensive, isolating, and focused purely on symptoms, the obvious answer is to look elsewhere.
Absolutely. And let's talk about the cost for a second. We're looking at astronomical costs at home, often $40,000 to $50,000 or more for a local program.
That is just staggering. And I know privacy is a massive concern too, right?
Yeah.
Especially for professionals.
Oh, yeah. High-level privacy is essential. But patients aren't just looking for a cheaper hospital where they can hide out. They're looking for a specific type of environmental healing.
Which explains why there's been such a massive migration of international patients, specifically to Spain.
Yeah. What's fascinating here is how Spain has practically reverse-engineered the recovery process by focusing heavily on the environment itself.
Let's talk about that environment.
Yeah.
Because Spain offers that calm, sunny, Mediterranean climate.
Right, and science tells us that sunshine and vitamin D naturally boost mood and support physical healing. It is a therapeutic environment by design.
And the quality of care is still top tier.
Right. Oh, absolutely. These are EU-regulated, fully licensed clinics. And they have 100% English-speaking staff, so nothing gets lost in translation.
And the value is incredible. You're getting luxury care for, what, 30 to 50% less?
Easily. Programs range from highly affordable options like a $5,850 package in Tenerife, all the way to a $24,000 35-day holistic retreat in Malaga.
Wow. Compared to 50 grand at home, that's huge.
Right. And they use this therapeutic community model with incredibly low client-to-staff ratios.
But sometimes even single client rehabs, right?
Exactly, ensuring 100% focus on the individual. But more importantly, from a psychological perspective, the physical distance from your home country creates a crucial buffer zone.
I want to focus on that buffer zone because it sounds like it's a lot more than just a nice change of scenery.
Oh, it's the absolute foundation of the healing process.
Hmm.
When you are in fight or flight mode, your brain is just drenched in cortisol. You are constantly scanning for threats. You physically cannot process trauma in that state because your primitive brain thinks a lion is chasing you.
That makes so much sense.
Right, so when you are thousands of miles away, you sever that immediate connection to your daily triggers, the stressful office, those toxic family dynamics, the specific route you drive where you usually buy your substance of choice.
It is all gone.
Exactly. Stepping off a plane in a sunny, quiet coastal town, thousands of miles from your toxic routine, is how you signal to your brain, the lion is gone, we can rest now.
That is so powerful. That physical distance allows a highly stressed nervous system to finally downregulate. To really visualize the impact of this, I want to look at a human story from the sources.
Let's do it.
Let's meet Daniel. He's a 41-year-old executive from London. And for years, he has just been under nonstop work pressure. He is completely burned out, dealing with severe, crushing stress.
Yeah, we see this so often.
And to cope with the sheer weight of his daily life, he developed a heavy alcohol dependency.
Right. Daniel's profile is incredibly common in these wellness centers. He is what we call highly functional on the outside, but internally, he is collapsing.
And for a long time, he avoided getting treatment because of the fear of stigma.
Oh, for sure. He was terrified of what it would mean for his career and his reputation if anyone found out.
And when he finally hit his breaking point and looked for local help in London, he hit that massive roadblock we discussed. He was quoted over $50,000 for a 28-day program in a medicalized hospital setting.
Which is just, it's devastating.
It is. Just put yourself in Daniel's shoes for a second. It is terrifying enough to finally admit you are losing control and that you need to ask for help.
It really is the hardest part.
But then to reach your hand out, only to be handed a $50,000 medical bill for a place that feels cold and unwelcoming, is completely demoralizing.
Yeah, it makes you want to just retreat right back into the addiction.
But then Daniel shifts his research. He looks abroad. He finds Satori Recovery in Malaga, Spain. He sees a 35-day, deeply holistic program for $24,000. It completely flips the narrative of recovery for him. It goes from a place of fear to a place of hope.
But, taking that leap is still really frightening. Daniel had immense fears before traveling.
I can imagine.
Yeah, the idea of getting on a plane, flying far from home, and stepping into the unknown while you're in a state of physical and emotional withdrawal, that is a massive hurdle.
I have to be honest, if someone is so burned out they're self-medicating just to survive the day, the idea of booking an international flight, dealing with passports, and navigating a foreign airport sounds like an absolute nightmare.
Oh, absolutely.
How does that not just break them before they even arrive?
Well, that is exactly why these centers have designed their logistics to completely remove decision fatigue. They know their patients are arriving with zero executive function left.
That makes total sense.
Yeah, so the process begins with a confidential online consultation with care coordinators. You don't have to figure this out alone.
So they literally hold your hand through it.
Exactly. They help you choose the right program, they handle the intricate travel planning, and they even arrange VIP airport pickup.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
From the moment you land in Spain, you are guided. You don't have to make another stressful decision.
Okay, so you land, you are picked up, and you arrive at this beautiful Spanish sanctuary. What is step one? Because it can't just be straight into deep trauma therapy, right?
No, definitely not. Step one is almost always a safe, medically supervised detox. This is critical. You cannot begin deep emotional and psychological work when your body is in physical withdrawal. The clinics provide 24/7 nursing care and medical supervision to ensure the physical transition is as comfortable and safe as possible.
Right, because if your body is in physical distress, your brain isn't going to process anything. You are just trying to survive the next hour.
Precisely. You have to stabilize the vessel before you can heal the mind. And once the physical dependency is stabilized, the patient moves into a structured daily recovery schedule.
Which is huge.
It is. This structure is vital because it removes the chaos that addiction brings to a person's life.
Let's dedicate some real time to painting a picture of that daily schedule. I really want to know what a typical Tuesday looks and feels like for someone recovering in Spain.
Okay, let's walk through it.
Because we are talking about comfortable private accommodations that honestly sound more like a boutique wellness hotel than a medical clinic. You are often in a coastal retreat, Surrounded by nature, breathing in the sea air. Walk me through a day.
Well, you wake up in a private room, usually with natural sunlight and views of the Mediterranean or the Spanish countryside.
Sounds amazing already.
Right. There are no harsh fluorescent lights, no hospital gowns. After a healthy breakfast, the morning is typically dedicated to the heavier clinical work, but it's done in a comfortable setting.
Like what kind of clinical work?
You might start with cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT. This is where a therapist helps you identify and literally rewire the negative, immediate thought patterns that trigger your urge to use.
And they pair that with other evidence-based therapies too, right? Like DBT and EMDR.
Yes, exactly.
I want to make sure we understand how those actually work rather than just throwing around acronyms.
Absolutely. So dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, is often used alongside CBT. While CBT focuses on thoughts, DBT focuses on emotional regulation.
Okay, got it.
It teaches you how to sit with intense emotional pain without immediately reaching for a substance to numb it. And then, for patients with trauma, they use EMDR, which stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
How does that actually work in practice? It sounds complicated.
It is fascinating. EMDR involves guided eye movements or bilateral stimulation that physically help the brain reprocess traumatic memories.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like taking a painful traumatic memory that is stuck in the alarm center of your brain, constantly triggering your fight or flight response, and moving it to the safe storage center of your brain.
So you don't forget it, but...
Exactly. You still remember what happened, but your body stops reacting as if it is happening right now.
That sounds incredibly intense.
Right.
Which makes perfect sense why they follow it up with holistic wellness-focused practices. You can't just do deep trauma work for 8 hours a day.
Exactly. The afternoons are designed to ground you back in your body. After an EMDR session, you might do guided mindfulness meditation or restorative yoga. Many centers even integrate equine-assisted therapy.
Working with horses. Wait, really?
Yes. Horses are highly sensitive to human emotion. If you are anxious or aggressive, the horse will not connect with you.
That's incredible.
It forces patients to regulate their breathing, rebuild trust, and practice nonverbal communication. It is a profound way to reconnect with another living being without the complicated baggage of human relationships.
And we cannot skip over the food.
Yeah.
Right. The sources highlight that patients are eating chef-prepared, anti-inflammatory meals. This isn't just a luxury perk. There is actual science behind why the food matters in recovery, isn't there?
Oh, there is a massive scientific weight to this. We have to talk about the gut-brain axis.
No.
Addiction, particularly alcohol abuse, absolutely ravages the body's physical health and destroys the gut microbiome. Your gut produces a huge percentage of your body's serotonin and dopamine.
The chemicals responsible for mood and happiness.
Exactly. If your gut is destroyed, your brain cannot naturally regulate your anxiety or depression. Rebuilding the body with nutrient-dense anti-inflammatory foods in a peaceful outdoor environment isn't just about feeling pampered.
Right.
It is a fundamental biological requirement for rebuilding the mind and building healthier lifelong habits.
So what does this all mean when you list off private suites, Mediterranean beaches, EMDR, equine therapy, and chef-prepared meals? Someone listening might push back and think, wait, is this just an expensive, glorified vacation?
Right? People do think that.
But it's not that at all. It's more like, think about repotting a struggling houseplant.
Okay, I like this.
You don't just trim the bad, dying leaves off a plant and leave it in the same toxic, depleted dirt. You gently remove it. You put it in an entirely new pot with nutrient-rich soil. You give it the right amount of sunlight and water so the roots can actually heal and grow deep. You are changing the soil so the person can finally thrive.
That is a brilliant way to frame it. You are providing the absolute optimal biological and psychological conditions for healing. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, it is vital that we provide a balanced, realistic view of this journey.
Oh, for sure.
Because repotting a plant can cause root shock, right? And traveling abroad for rehab is not without its real human challenges.
Right. Let's look at the pros and cons fairly, because this isn't a magic wand.
It's really not.
The pros are massive, though. You get incredibly high privacy, which is crucial for executives and professionals. You get 30 to 50% cost savings.
Huge.
You are immersed in a serene wellness atmosphere with highly personalized support from expert psychiatrists and psychologists. And you get that critical distance from your daily triggers.
But the cons require real commitment and resilience. There is a significant emotional adjustment to being in a new country, surrounded by a different culture, while you are in a highly vulnerable state.
Yeah, they can't be easy.
It's not. There is the mental commitment required for the travel itself, even with help. And perhaps the most difficult emotional challenge, you are physically away from your family and loved ones during the initial, most fragile stages of your recovery.
Being an ocean away from your family when you're hurting has to be incredibly hard. That isolation is a real fear.
It is incredibly difficult, and it is a fear we see constantly in the patient testimonials. But this raises an important question about how we view that separation.
How do you mean?
Well, these centers recognize this hardship, which is why they offer family counseling and online therapy sessions to bridge that geographical gap. But actually, that physical separation often turns a perceived negative into a highly structured boundary for healing.
Wow, how so?
When you are deeply enmeshed in family dynamics, those very dynamics are often intertwined with the addiction itself. There is codependency, enablement, or just historical resentment.
Right, there's so much history there.
Exactly. Stepping away geographically allows both the patient and the family to breathe, reset, and engage in their own therapy without the immediate friction of sharing a living space. It forces a healthy pause.
It gives everyone space to heal their own side of the street without constantly stepping on each other's toes.
Yes, beautifully said.
And bringing this all back to the emotional core of our deep dive today, this is really about the raw human experience of asking for help. The sources highlight real, tangible fears from families.
Yeah, like the review from Kaya Wiggins.
Yes, exactly. There's this very moving review from Kaya, who wrote about her family member's journey to Satori recovery. Kaya was absolutely terrified for her relative's life.
It's heartbreaking.
She watched alcohol abuse slowly destroying someone she loved, and she felt that deep, paralyzing fear of not knowing how to save them, of feeling completely powerless.
And what Kaya's review highlights so beautifully is the profound mindset shift that had to happen for her relative to accept care.
Right.
Her family member had a deep, ingrained distrust of the medical system. If they had been forced into a clinical, institutionalized hospital setting back home, they likely would have rebelled, felt cornered, or just shut down completely.
Which is so common.
Right. But because they found a non-clinical, compassionate sanctuary in Skane, that massive wall of distrust finally came down.
That is incredible.
Kaya noted that the peaceful environment was the vital key that allowed her relative to actually accept the help being offered.
It's those simple lifestyle details that bring hope back into the picture. It's the ability to sit on a patio and enjoy a quiet sunset, or to sit down and have a healthy meal without the crushing, invisible weight of addiction sitting on your chest.
Yeah.
It is about an environment where you, the patient, feel deeply understood and entirely unjudged.
Because judgment breeds shame, and shame is the fuel that keeps addiction burning. By removing the clinical coldness and the institutionalized feel of traditional rehabs, you remove the implicit judgment.
And replace it with empathy.
Empathy is what allows someone to finally look at their own wounds without looking away. You stop fighting the facility and you finally start fighting for yourself.
I want to ask a direct question to you listening right now. Think about your own experiences with the healthcare system. What stands out to you about the difference between feeling treated as a symptom in a hospital versus feeling cared for as a human being in a sanctuary?
That is the big question.
Because that difference, that shift from a sterile medical transaction to a genuine human connection, seems to be the exact thing that is saving lives in these Spanish wellness centers.
It is the defining difference between merely surviving a detox and truly fundamentally healing your life.
As we wrap up today's exploration, I want to leave you with this. Recovery is not about perfection. For many people, it's about creating enough space, support, and clarity to finally begin healing. Exploring rehab abroad is a personal decision, and for some patients, Spain offers an environment where recovery can feel calmer, more private, and more focused on rebuilding both mental and physical well-being.
And I'll leave you with this thought to mull over on your own. We've talked so much today about escaping the daily triggers of your environment. But what if true, lasting recovery isn't just about fighting to change your habits? What if it's about giving yourself permission to completely rewire your internal landscape, simply by daring to change your external geography?